So I've recently started playing more and more multiplayer for reasons that is an individual that he knows who he is, but regardless, I've been playing a lot and actually really enjoying myself playing multiplayer because it's kind of weird because I've always played multiplayer a lot, but this year I hadn't really been playing that much multiplayer, so to finally get back into it, it's really refreshing to say. That's weird to say about Call of Duty's multiplayer, say it's refreshing, but regardless, in my time playing it, and now I think I've already prestiged twice and within these last few days. I've just been playing for these last few days, so keep that all in mind. But regardless, I've noticed there's a couple problems with this multiplayer right away, and I've always been aware of these because I've kept up with the multiplayer community, and I completely understand what they're all saying now, and especially why they are kind of upset with a lot of things that are happening inside the Black Ops 4 multiplayer. And I think there's a couple of them, but I want to talk about the main one, and of course that's specialists, and especially, or I guess more specifically, is that I want to explain why specialists just don't work inside Black Ops 4, and I'll also be kind of, not really, but kind of comparing it to Black Ops 3 specialists, just at points, but the only reason I'm doing that is just because not nearly as many people complained about specialists inside Black Ops 3 compared to Black Ops 4, and I kind of want to share my opinion on why I believe that is the case. But of course, with all that said, we're just going to go ahead and jump into all of the different, or the reasons why the specialists just plain don't work inside Black Ops 4. So there's a couple different reasons why I personally believe the specialists just don't work inside Black Ops 4, but I do think that there's one more than all of the other ones, and it really got me thinking, and I kind of realized this while I was just playing the game, well, mainly while I just played the game, but I really was convinced that this was a reason why they are the biggest problem, because I thought back to games that had the specialist system or a very similar system like this in the past, and I thought back to Infinite Warfare and Black Ops 3, and in those games, yeah, there was people who disliked the specialist system, but it was nowhere near the dislike for it inside Black Ops 4, and I started thinking about what's the difference, and I came to the conclusion by, of course, using this logic and also just realizing this, playing the game, and I just came to the conclusion it was the special issue equipment. The special issue equipment are fundamentally flawed by just their implementation in the game and also inside how they play out inside the game. They are just kind of poorly designed if you ask me, but let's first talk about the implementation because I think this is where the problem truly lies. Because if you guys have spent any time playing Black Ops 4's multiplayer, you would know that when you go to select a piece of equipment, you could choose, of course, the frag, concussion, Molotov, and stuff like that, and that will all cost you a point. But you really have no reason to choose any of those because if you wanted to, you could just easily choose a special issue equipment which costs you 0 points towards your pick 10 system, meaning that if you want to use any of the special issue equipment, it would be completely free. It will not cost anything, and I find this very, I guess, stupid that they would do it in this way because first off, this de-incentivizes people to use the, I guess, traditional equipment inside the game. I mean, nobody's really going to use a frag or I guess a concussion or a Molotov when they could use things like a cluster grenade, a 9-bang, and other things like that. It just doesn't make sense because not only are they better, but on top of that, they are free to use and they do not count towards your pick 10 system. But of course, the other problem, and the real problem with all this, and what really kind of ruins it all, is that this creates this sort of spamming of special issue equipment, and it's something that you could, I guess, look back on Call of Duty's life and see how they did in the past, especially with some of the older Call of Duties, or I guess in more recent time in World War II, because in World War II there wasn't a pick 10 system just like many of the other Call of Duties, but instead it had some other system, and in the case of World War II it had the division system, and with this system it would guarantee everybody had a tactical and a lethal, thus making a lot of grenade spam, which was quite annoying. So what they decided to do in Black Ops 4 is get rid of the grenade spam and replace it with special issue equipment spam, and this is much worse because, yes, you don't get them as often because you don't get them every single time you respawn, but the problem is that they are much more powerful than traditional grenades and flashbangs and something like that. So you get a spam of things that are more powerful than we've seen ever before in our equipment slot, or I guess our tactical/lethal spot. Since you're you're constantly being spammed with special issue equipment, you're going to see things all over the map. I mean, just think about everything you see on the map every single time. And in the worst case scenario, some people are running one of the, or I guess you could see people using the same specialist, or two players on the opposite team using the same specialist, or even on your team. And in the case of Torque, this is the worst possible case scenario, because you have somebody or two people on the opposing team all using their razor wires to cut down lanes, and then using their barricade to cut down even more lanes, which becomes quite annoying because it's just annoying where you cannot choose where you want to go. You can't go on flank sometimes, you can't just charge in through area you want to. It's just a really big pain, and this is something that I find quite annoying, because you're going to be running into a lot of these things that are going to cause unavoidable deaths. And this is the main problem with Black Ops 4, these unavoidable deaths that so many things cause. It's caused by the special issue equipment, and the specialist weapons and abilities causes a lot of unavoidable deaths, just like something like the 9-bang does, the cluster grenade to an extent, not really too much, but I guess the reactor core, mesh mines especially, seeker drones the most, sensor dart to grapple gun to an extent, tactical deploy again to an extent, not too much though. Razor wire was just annoying, and then the EMP is it's okay, but regardless, a lot of these things are going to be causing some very unavoidable deaths that are really annoying to deal with, because a lot of these just put you in a situation that you just can't do anything. Just think about how I guess the seeker drone is put in the game, especially if you have two people on the enemy team using Prophet. You have two different people that they can use a seeker drone, I think up to 4 times a game if I'm not correct. Correct me. Well, again, it matters on the game mode you're playing, but I'm pretty sure it's around 4 times a game in TDM, but then that might be wrong because they did increase how many kills it would take to win in TDM. But you're going to run into a seeker drone 4 times from one person, and then you also have another guy on their team that has a seeker drone too, so you're going to run into 4 more. And yes, not all of them are going to hit you, but eventually one may do that, and for some reason it feels like they always shock you at the perfect time just to stop you on your streak. And it's just kind of annoying when you're trying to get your streaks and all of a sudden a seeker drone comes and stuns you, and now you can't do much except die, and of course this knocks you off your streaks and leading to a lot of frustration. And what I find annoying is that I think in Call of Duty the main reason you should die is because you were not placing well, you were not traveling the map well, you put yourself in a bad position, or that you just got outplayed or outgunned. One of those reasons should be the reason why you die, at least most of the time. There should be times where they throw a concussion or a flashbang or something like that to mess you up, but of course most of the time it should just be for the other reasons that I just mentioned. But inside Black Ops 4 there's multiple things that will cause your death where you just can't avoid it, and the mesh mines and seeker drones are the main two, I guess, offenders of causing these unnecessary deaths. And this is a problem with them, because especially when they can be spammed, you're constantly going to be running into these multiple times throughout your game, thus causing so many unnecessary deaths, or unavoidable deaths, excuse me, that just are really annoying to many players. Now, this is, yes, what I believe to be the biggest problem, and probably has one of the easier fixes, because just have them count towards the pick 10 system, and of course if that doesn't work, you probably want to figure out something after that, but I'm pretty sure that would work, because it would de-incentivize people to use it, especially myself, because I just would never use it because I want to put as much perks and I guess attachments on my gun as possible. But I just like to see that changed up, because it's an easy fix in my opinion, and I just think it's something that would really help with the spam of these special issue equipment, because it just currently in the game everybody just has them, causing the spam of them, causing so many unnecessary deaths, or unavoidable, excuse me again, and I just really don't like them. So I want to quickly go over the specialists that I think need to be changed up inside Black Ops 4, because I don't think the specialists are going anywhere. So I think the least we could ask for is some changes and some sort of balancing, if you could say that, with specialists, but to these specialists that really need to be looked at, because I think a couple of them need to be changed up. And we're starting with the worst offender out of all of them in my opinion, and that's Ajax with his ballistic shield. That thing takes no skill to use, and it's almost impossible to kill him when he's using it, because he can shoot at you, well you can't shoot at him, and even if you try to pop up behind him, the TTK, or the time to kill in this game, is too long, because he'll turn around and protect his shots and then kill you. It's just not it's just not fun. It just needs to be fixed, because at least with something with like the Annihilator from Seraph, at least you have to be accurate with that gun and be put your character at a risk, because you could still be shot back when you're using the Annihilator, but that's just not the case with the Ballistic Shield. So that just needs to be figured out. Another one, and the second worst one, is actually Nomad, because Nomad is dumb with his K9 unit, and the K9 unit should still be a score streak, because it just doesn't work as a specialist ability or weapon, because it's just dumb, because he gets it and he can sit in a corner while his K9 unit goes and gets all the kills. It just makes no sense to have that as a weapon at all, because this one is the worst fender out of the non-risk at all, because this thing will be getting you kills and you don't have to do anything. It's just so stupid. I don't understand why this was ever thought to be a good idea to be a specialist weapon. I mean, the dog survives even past the specialist Nomad being killed. Like, if you activate your dog and then you die, your K9 unit is still around the map, and that makes no sense to me, because all the other specialists, if you're using your specialist ability and you're killed, it dies too. That's just how it should work. They should at least do that. But next one I want to quickly go over is Prophet, because it was his Tempest weapon, because, and not because of the Tempest I feel is overpowered. If this was in Black Ops 3, I think it would kind of suck, but since it's in Black Ops 4, which the maps in the game are more compact, thus leading more people to be by their other teammates, that becomes a problem with it, because the chain reactions that you get with the Tempest. I think a lot of the times people are getting chain reactions when they really don't deserve it, because I hate when my teammate gets stunned by the Tempest and I'm just standing too close to him and it stuns me. I just don't like that. Now, the other one I want to mention real quick is Torque, because I just think it's dumb that he has a barricade and razor wire and you can use them at the same time. They should make it where you can only use one at a time, because it is so annoying when they put the razor wire at the window and they put the barricade in the, I guess, the hallway to reach the window, and there's multiple of these areas on Black Ops 4 maps. So I just think that needs to be fixed, because it's just so annoying, because all they do is just feed campers, and it's just so dumb to do that. I don't get why they do that, because camping is just such a dumb thing. And the last one I want to talk about is Ice Pick from Zero, and all I could say is stop touching my streaks. Just stop it. Stay away from my streaks. Just make it affect the specialist weapons, like make them their cooldown longer or something like that. Just stay away from my streaks. You did not earn anything to stop my streaks. You did not get anything like that. Stop messing with my streaks. It's so dumb. I hate going on a streak just to have my streaks disabled or just taken over. It's the stupidest thing ever. This one thing I hate more than anything in any Call of Duty is when my streaks can be screwed over so easily. It's just so dumb. But anyways, that's all I really want to say about the specialist. I'm not going to spend any more time on this because I don't want to make this video too long. But anyways, that's all the real suggestions I have for these specialists. But that's really all I could say about the specialists inside Black Ops 4 and why I don't think they're currently working inside the game. But I'd love to hear what you guys think about this. Do you agree or disagree with me, or even do you want to add something more to what I've said in this video or something I forgot? I'd love to hear all of that down in the comments, because I do read all the comments, mainly because there's not that many lately, but still I read them nonetheless. But if you guys did enjoy the video, go ahead, do all the normal YouTube stuff, like, subscribe, bell, share, and especially bell. But I'm gonna go, and I'll catch you guys next stream video or whatever it may be. But laters, guys.